Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the Marvel Select Marvel Zombies Colonel America figure. And this is the first figure I've picked up from the original Marvel Zombies line. Back before Disney got their claws in Marvel, Diamond selected a wave of 3 different Marvel heroes in zombie forms based on the Marvel Zombies comics. So in this case, we don't get Captain America, but we get Colonel America, which is more or less the exact same thing. The original wave of Marvel Zombies is one that I really regret not picking up. They were peg warmers in my local Books A Million at the time they were released, but I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend on collectibles back then, and Marvel was very low on my priority list. Now they go for big bucks on eBay, and I'm left searching for a deal on the other ones. Just how the new Marvel Zombies wave seems to be giving us a lot of Green Goblin-inspired display bases with no pegs. Back with these 3 figures, we got the Silver Surfer designed display base with no pegs. I think the modern ones are a little cooler. These have a very hard kind of edge to them, so there's no display on the side, but the top looks really good. It's like a city street, some rubble around. You got the Silver Surfer arm, and it's spewing cosmic goo. There's a cool translucent rubbery plastic with some black flecks going through it. I think it's a neat effect. I don't think they could have done it much better in plastic form, so it's really neat to see them at least try it, but obviously it does still kind of just look like big chunks of rubber on the display base. And then you can see on the sides here, we do have some indentations and some pegs where it would interconnect with the bases that come with the Hulk and Spider-Man figure. We also get Colonel America's iconic shield, the normal star, which is actually raised up here on the shield, which is great. The other layers, there is a sculpting separation between them, but they're not raised up or lowered at all. There's a nice dirty grime over top of this, making it look all zombified just like its user. On the back, we have 2 elastic straps. Unfortunately, when I got mine on eBay, it was missing the connector here, so I probably need to glue this other piece down or something. But these straps will let you put it over his shoulders, and then it has the C-clip that we've seen on a lot of Marvel Universe and Marvel Legend figures that will go onto Colonel's wrist. I think this is the oldest Marvel Select figure I've ever owned, but the construction of it overall feels a lot more like a Toy Biz era Legends than it does the kind of more modern figures I'm used to. Definitely not a bad thing. We could see the face. Well, actually, that might be a bad thing here. The face isn't nearly as detailed as I'm used to, especially after just reviewing that zombie Sabretooth figure. He kind of just looks like he has a bad case of herpes going on here around his mouth, a bunch of red sores. His gums are pulled back away with the exposed teeth, which is the signature of the Marvel zombie. His eyes are whited out with the big red flesh around them, which I think is really cool looking. His ears, ironically, are pretty normal, not really touched. We can see the stitched on A on his forehead as well as the wings on the side. And if you can't tell by the big seam, this is a cap that's removable. Cap's cap, I guess, or Colonel's cap. You see there's some detail on the inside as well, but the best part is the exposed brain sticking out of the top here, which I think is really, really cool, a nice touch, and how you see the character through most of the comics. I think Magneto does this to him pretty early on, if I remember right. Going down the rest of the body, he has a really, really good paint job here. A nice blue metallic sheen over those scales. I think I've only had one other Captain America figure with the kind of fish scale pattern on his costume. All the other ones have been a little more modernized, but I really like the look here. They did a heavy black wash to really get in the creases and bring out the bright blue. He has the stitched on star there at the front. Same idea going on here on the back. Then we get to that mid-torso section where the stripes are. It's very, very dirtied up, and you can see it's very sunken in that creepy zombie look that just couldn't be matched by a human. Even the back, you can see it's starting to pull in. You can see the outlines of his anatomy going on here. The arms still look muscular when they get down to this section of it, and then we go down to the very dirty red gloves, which have some great stitching lines and a great black shading over top of them. It's a really good detail here. This hand is meant to hold the shield, and this hand's a little more relaxed. One of the details I thought was funniest about classic Cap is the belt on it. It just seems so out of place, just such an old-timey looking belt. I guess saying old-timey with Captain America is kind of ironic, but we do get all the belt loops in there, the buckle, the holes on the belt, the stitches, all great detail. A lot of good wrinkles coming down the legs. The legs are very, very skinny here. Then we have the folded down boots, more great stitching detail, and a lot more black wash. For articulation, Cap's head is on a ball joint, so look a little up, a little down, side to side, as well as tilt a bit. Not a great range of motion just because of how big his neck is compared to the shape of his head, but it works alright. You got pin socket joints at the shoulders, so they'll go forward, back. It's actually a ratcheting joint, which is kind of cool. They also go out to the side, a very good amount there. We can bend as well as rotate the elbows. The bend is at least 90 degrees, which is great. We can swivel at the wrist, cut joint at the waist. Legs will go forward and back as well as out to the side. We don't have any cut joint or anything up here, which would have probably helped posability a bit. We do have a bend at the knee as well as a swivel. At the ankle, middle, he can move very far up, very far back, and we do get an ankle pivot in there, which is really, really nice. For size comparison, here's Colonel America next to the more modern Marvel Zombie figures. We have Magneto on the left and Zombie Sabretooth on the right. I think Colonel America is a little shorter than he probably should be. I would think Steve Rogers and Magneto are probably roughly the same height, though I'm not 100% sure on that one. Sabretooth, of course, should be much taller, but I really think even though Cap is hunched over a little bit here in the sculpt, he should stand just a bit taller than he does right now. And I really like this Colonel America zombie figure. As far as the actual detailing on the figure itself goes, it's not nearly as cool as the more modern ones. I think the sculpting and paint applications have just gotten a lot better with action figures over the years. However, he has great articulation, which is really surprising, or at least for a Marvel Select, he has great articulation. The articulation he has is what I wish these newer figures had. So this figure's gonna get a recommendation. I think Colonel America seems to be the least expensive of the bunch if you're hunting them down on eBay, so he might be the easiest one to pick up if you're gonna start going back for these. But it's really got me wanting to go track down the Zombie Spider-Man and the Zombie Hulk, which I know are gonna be a little harder to get into my collection. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come.